What are the chances the adoption of your new program will fail? Do you know how many stakeholders in your organization are ready to change their way of working to adopt your new process? We created a tool that can help you assess if your organization is ready for change. If you are seeking to implement a new program or process, there will be downstream impacts as a result of your change. In the case of onboarding plans, depending on how established your organization is, there are several stakeholders who need to be prepared and ready to accept this change if your process launch is going to be successful. For example, managers, HR, recruiters, or leadership may all become involved or have an interest in the rollout of your new process. So it can be good to systematically and quickly assess how ready your stakeholders are for your intended upcoming change. In this video, we will discuss and reference our Organizational Readiness Diagnostic, which is a tool to help you determine how complex your process implementation may be, depending on the readiness of your various stakeholders. For this particular example, we'll talk about an onboarding plans process. And let's assume that we are attempting to implement a new onboarding plans process where no system is currently in place, for example, an HRIS or a learning management system or LMS. This will be a brand new process, and we will need to collaborate with stakeholders to ensure they are on board with the new onboarding plans process. So for this scenario, there will be 5 big groups of stakeholders that we want to make sure are ready for our change. The first is leadership. We want to make sure that our leaders are ready to accept this change or determine how they are sponsoring this change. Depending on the complexity of the implementation, there can be challenges or pushback from other stakeholders down the line, and you want to make sure that there is a sponsor at the leadership level. Leaders can communicate downline to help with adoption and acceptance of your changes. You'll want to know from the beginning if your leaders are invested in the success of this implementation, or if they're just recommending the change and might not help you with adoption. Second is the manager population. The next group of stakeholders that we need to make sure are on board with the process are the managers of new employees. So often in our line of work, the main stakeholder outside of the frontline employees is the manager population that drives the behavior change of the program to their employees. We need to make sure that our managers are active collaborators and helping us to implement our programs in the right way. Program or process changes require their time, their attention, and their willingness to help us evangelize our changes. So you'll want to assess whether or not the managers are actively seeking and welcoming this change, or if there's going to be some pushback. If there is potential pushback, the change management and implementation plan will need to be a little bit more complex. And third, employees. So another group of people are going to be existing employees, so peers of the new employees coming into the organization. In an onboarding plans process, our new employees are going to be receiving the onboarding plans. However, often existing employees help coach new employees through their training process, their onboarding process, or even help them understand their job role. It can be very helpful if existing employees understand the reasoning behind the implementation of these particular programs, especially if they're going to be involved in the onboarding plan. Also, the way by which peer employees talk about the implementation of a program can create a good or poor perception. So you want to make sure existing employees are ready for this change as well. And then fourth, partners. So as we've mentioned in previous contexts, there may be several partners currently touching the existing process that you're hoping to change. So for example, recruiters, other HR professionals, possibly IT admins, or other folks involved in getting a new employee set up in the organization. So these partners will want to be kept in the loop of these implementations and changes, primarily to make sure that they have visibility into the upcoming change and so that they can provide feedback if needed. You can also proactively speak with these partners to ensure they are kept in the loop and to prepare them for the upcoming change. And then finally, operations pertains to any process already in place. So for example, if we are implementing an onboarding plans process from a template or from a document where there is no automated system in place yet, there will be an increase in maintenance and management of this process initially, and that could impact the operation of your own team. Because our main stakeholders are employees and managers, when you implement a new process or system, change usually equates to an increase in manager time spent learning the new process. So additionally, you will likely spend time managing, teaching, coaching, mentoring people through this process change, or even maintaining, reporting, updating, and scaling out this change. So you need to ensure that you are operationally ready to accept that uptick in time spent or seek to reduce the time impact of your new process implementation to your own team or process. So whenever you are seeking to implement a new process change or program, you will want to brainstorm the impacts to each of these stakeholders that we've mentioned. You can use the Organizational Readiness Diagnostic to help you assess the level of complexity or how difficult it may be to launch a new program depending on how ready the stakeholders are in this moment. Are you ready to figure out if your organization is ready for your upcoming program or process launch? Don't wait to start planning how you can effectively partner with stakeholders to ensure a successful launch. Head over to our Talents Acquired site to get the Organizational Readiness Diagnostic and get your program started today. And don't forget, if you're working for an organization or team where you need to implement a new onboarding process or program, or create a training from scratch, click the subscribe button and follow along as we roll out more content on how to start and launch scalable employee programs.